Good morning. Hi, YouTubers. Good morning, Facebook folks. Wow. I feel very fortunate that I get to do what I do. I mean, really, this is a lovely life. We have frankincense and joy diffusing in the diffuser, and I'm here, you're here. I'm really looking forward to channeling some answers for you guys on the Facebook Live Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness group page. That's where these videos originate from, and I record them also on YouTube. I post the recordings up on YouTube as well, so if you miss some of it, you can catch it either on Facebook on the group page, or you can catch it live elsewhere. Good morning, Pat Hansen. Hugs and kisses to you, sweetie pie. So the whole thing about this Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness group page is that a lot of it is about posting the quotes from my soon to be published book, and I don't have it within reach. That's ridiculous. So this is my proofing copy. I'm gonna have to block out my face in order for it to show on the screen, but this is my proofing copy, and this is what I'm working on to make the final corrections and get those done. And then I send it to the woman who's doing such a beautiful job of my book interiors. That's Deborah Perdue, and she produces those gratitude reflections every day, and I send them forth on my personal page. And she also did the cover art, which I love. I think it's beautiful. And anyhow, I'm getting there. So good morning, Rebecca Donald. Yay, how are you? Did your loved one show up in your world? Did you find this the person that you're gonna be seeing, dating, loving on, whatever? The interesting thing about this week and the energies that Anubis was channeling on is that this week is governed by the overall energy is connecting heart to heart. And good morning, Christine Arbison, you made it. Woohoo! I really appreciate these familiar names and faces showing up, because it just makes me feel like I actually have an audience and that I'm doing something for everyone, not just myself. And that's why I do this. I do free channelings on here and answer questions. Speaking of which, I'm going to get my Facebook page, my group page. Dun, 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 we got messages to clear. And all right, so they're always changing things around, and then it makes me chase things down in between. And Wednesday mornings, I started very early, waking up, getting ready for this, and I try to clear my energy and get tuned in a way that's really helpful for channeling. So now I'm looking for questions. If you write in on the comments what your question is, then I can channel an answer for you. And I'm so looking forward to this. All right. Marco still here. Yay. Thank you. Okay. Ooh, okay. Let's say. So Pat Hansen, all I see is the word back. Oh, you having back problems? Okay, I'm feeling that. I feel it like a rib in the back side is a little out of order. Uh that it's time to get an adjustment. I can definitely recommend some good chiropractors, but they're over here in Marin County. One's in Ignacio, and another one is in San Rafael, and another one's in San Selmo. Anyway, I'm going later today. Okay, here's Pat Hansen's question. Been guided to ask you about the weather this winter and the West Coast, especially for people who make a living from the sea. Well, okay, there's like three different questions in that question. See, she knows how to make a good, ask a good question because she's like gets it all in there. Okay, the weather this winter. Okay, we're on the West Coast here in California, and I am seeing actually some rather cold temperatures. I'm seeing some snow. Like this is wild. But I don't we've had snow before. We had some last year. That was interesting. We had about 4 or 5 inches on the higher elevations. Um, but that's the first thing that showed up when you asked about the weather. I'm also seeing some big storms, actually really kind of rowdy weather waves on the coast, along the coast. Now, you asked about people who make their living in the sea, and it's going to be really tough to collect the crabs this year. I think it would be a good year, but it's going to be rough and rowdy. So, okay, let's see. Weather with winter on the West Coast, especially about people who make a living on the sea. Well, the sea, making a living on the sea, so many good things come from our ocean. This earth, if it weren't for the ocean and the rivers and the lakes, would not be the earth. And so as we're thinking about the earth and the weather that surrounds her, we want to think grateful thoughts and appreciate right now all the things that Mother Earth does for us, all the ways that she supplies us, all the way that she is protecting and supporting us, and taking into account all that we can do for Mother Earth. Oh, I gotta start composting. Really, it's ridiculous. I gotta start composting. So I love that, David Greased. I have no questions. I feel my destiny is in place and I welcome it without fear. Amen. That's the thing. Good morning, Tina Mangerbang and Karen Granovsky. How are you? This is great. We got a good group going here. All right. So that the weather, we get that. And we have to appreciate Mother Earth and anything that we can do for her. Just picking up a little trash when you're in the parking lot. Don't let the plastics float into the creek. Pick up some trash if you're walking along the beach. Try not to let things fly out of the back of your truck or out your windows. Or, I was even sprinkling my dad's ashes in Poudre Creek, and then the bag that the ashes were in got out of my hand and flew across the creek to a side I couldn't get to. Like, and so just take care. Take care. And it's one way that we connect heart to heart with Earth, Mother Earth. And we bless the people who are working and making their living from the sea, because it's not going to be easy this year because of those stormy, choppy, huge waves. I'm expecting a lot of that. Good morning, Marco. You're always here. What a steady Eddie. All right. So Christine Darbison, she says, how can my family clear allergies? Great questions. And great grandsons and great granddaughter recently had been very ill, allergies flare, then illness. Thank you. Okay. So I'm seeing this in both the grandson and great granddaughter. That the source of these allergies are food allergies, literally. The grandson definitely should not be drinking cow's milk or eating a lot of cheese. Cheese, has some mold in it, even if you can't see it or smell it, or it's aged. And God knows I love cheese, but your grandson should not eat a lot of milk products. He's got to switch to like almond milk or oat milk on the cereal. He's got to get out of the dairy. He can eat eggs. That is a really welcome and rich source of protein for his body. But if he stops eating the cow's things, he will find a big relief in that. Also, the antibiotics and some of the other things, that the hormones that they feed the cows for ordinary milk, it's just not good for our physical bodies, because we are taking in those products as well, and it's not good for us. Look at your granddaughter. I see her just eating gobs and gobs of fruit, and now her fruit has to be washed, like really washed. That vegetable spray or that vegetable soap, her fruit needs to be plunged into a pan, like a clean dish pan or a metal pan that has the cleansing soap in it, and really swished around in there and cleansed, because the pesticides that land on there, and even, is she in a high airplane traffic area? I'm getting airplane smog, jet fuel exhaust on the fruit. And so she needs to make sure that she has really cleaned fruit. So like that. So clearing allergies is also, sometimes it's really helpful for kids to have a way out of being rigidly scheduled. Like, I got to go to school every day, and I got to be on, and I have to do good for the teachers and for my parents. And ever since kindergarten, they said when I'm going to be where and doing what, and and I'm going to have this for the next 13, 15 years of my life. And so it may be a way that people are allowing them to not have to go to school, or giving them a little time off. That definitely was true for me in fifth grade. Like fifth grade, I had bronchitis 5, 6 times, and was out for a week at a time each time, and just like mucus galore and whatever. But you know what? I went back and looked at that for myself, and it was a way that I got out of school, and it was fine with me. If it was going to be a mucusy mess, it was still fine with me to not have to be on and not have to be told what to do. And my mother even let me watch extra TV and stuff like that. So good morning, Cheryl Mog. So just ask them how they're doing at school and with this. Their kids often have like a serious sports schedule, and that can be, it's a lot. The kids also need time just to play without an agenda, no rules, and use their imaginations, because the things that evolve out of the freedom to use one's imagination, are spiritual skills and also self-soothing skills grow out of that. And so those are important things to watch out for. Those are really good questions, Christine. I really appreciate those, and I bless your family. And if their parents need more information, please send them to me. I can do either the personal guidance $28, one question readings for them, or I can do full-on hour readings, whatever's necessary. Like that. Let's see. So who's next? Great granddaughter and infant is being breastfed. Okay, mom, she's got to not take the pesticides in. Mother's got to not, she's got to be super careful. Also no garlic. The baby doesn't like garlic. And now this baby's going to be challenging. So that's a lot longer reading than we can do on this thing here, because there are like 2 or 3 other people wanting to ask some questions. So I need to get to those too. But there are soul level issues at work here with the great granddaughter who's being breastfed. Okay. So let's see, Karen Granovsky, hugs to you today. Just checking in to see how you're doing mostly. Let me know if anything comes up regarding Jacob's health. He's been struggling the last few months. I feel like with Jacob, there's a loss. Like he lost a good friend, or did he break up with a girlfriend that he had really thrown himself into, and it's like his first hammer hit to the heart, as we all know what that's like, when first loves really kind of hit the bricks. It's very painful, and men process grief and upset differently, and he might be exhibiting more as a health issue. Now, Jacob, the name that, was Jacob the one that landed in the whale in the Bible and had to do some time inside the whale? And I think that's actually relevant to his situation, that he feels like he's on a turbulent course and caged, and is not in control, and just like being thrown around by the emotional winds and waves. So I think any health issues are more related to that. And so it might be offered that he could have a reading with me, and how valuable that could be, or to see perhaps a male counselor, or one of the things that would work for Jacob, I think, would be some acupuncture. That he would be a responder to that, and it wouldn't seem like we're dealing with your emotions directly, but it would help his body deal with the emotions in a way that wouldn't feel like an attack on his masculinity. So acupuncture is probably the way in, at least to get going, and that might give him sort of the substance of, and the organize his body energy to where he is now, in a way that gives him this confidence back and lets him start to be introspective and expressive of his feeling sense. And this is a really steep growth curve for Jacob right now. But also, you might look up that whole Bible stuff. Oh, it was Job. It's not Jacob. But Jacob, being a very strong biblical name, it might be worth looking into to see what the history of that name is, because that's impactful. When you wear the name, you kind of wear the history and the beliefs about that name. And we're feeling your heart, Karen, and I feel it so much. Thank you, thank you. It's beautiful. Thank you. Now, oh, Jonah in the whale, while Jacob and the coat of many colors. Oh, there you go. Well, thank you. See, I depend on my people. Thank you, Christine. She came up with the answer. Oh, that's very good. Okay, great. Now there was something, who else was up here with a question? Refreshing the page. Facebook is like kind of funny and slow that way. When we look at our connection with the earth and the earth experience, we have to be willing to connect heart to heart with ourselves and with others. We have to be willing to do that. And it requires being vulnerable. It requires being honest. It requires being present for whatever the experience is. And to let go of shame. You know, when we're vulnerable, we often feel shame or regret that we let somebody in or hurt us that way, or we should be more further along the development line and that shouldn't have harmed us. But, you know, we get caught unawares and the defenses didn't necessarily work. So even connecting heart to heart with myself is required. And that's when I say, embody your soul's light. Your eighth chakra is the soul chakra, and it's filled to the brim with soul's light. And it wants nothing more than to come down and be in your physical experience and be part of you. It is so helpful to embody your soul's light. Absolutely. My book is all about bringing forth soul consciousness, and I'm going to be in the studio recording it as an audio book because there's so many guided processes in here, and little energetic methods of working with feelings and energy that are helpful. This is a 4.5, almost 5-year project that has been coming through for a long time. So, and the information is living in me in a way now. It's really, oh, I love it. Anyhow, I know I can't wait to have you available to buy it. Final corrections I'm doing now. I haven't had much time lately to work on that. Then it goes to the woman who's doing the rest of the book, the interior, making it beautiful, you know, so it looks like a real book. You know, it's got my Soul Sorcerer Etsy logo on there at the top of each chapter, and there are interactive questions at the back. So there's really the process. So not only teaching you how to open your Akashic records, hello, folks, it teaches you how to open your Akashic records, the records of your soul's entire journey, and access your masters, your teachers, and your loved ones. And this is like your spiritual advisory team in life. And I can't tell you how important that is and how valuable it's been. Good morning, Diane Dobson. Good morning, Stuart McRae. Oh my goodness. Wow. Aren't we lucky to have you here today? So as you embody your soul's light and you open your Akashic records and you get information from this, the interactive questions at the end, you write your answers and it begins to teach you what you've learned. You begin to show yourself what you've learned because your records are open and you've taken in information in a different way that during the text part of the chapter. And then with your records open, you write your answers to these questions, and it's remarkable what comes through. remarkable and very helpful, very self-empowering, very spiritually enlightening. And it's all about love. You know, any message worth its salt is wrapped around a core frequency of love so that it goes in the heart, so that it's uplifting, so it's supportive at soul and heart level. It's that's where the rubber meets the road. So I'm just gonna look here and see Jacob of coat of many colors. That's really interesting. You know, okay, so in terms of Jacob, Karen Gronowski, and that says to me that he is piecing together some parts that aren't settled into who he is now as a young man. And, you know, he's going to have to walk himself through this, but I think the acupuncture will help and to dispel any physical effects that are limiting and kind of chaining him down. But also, this is where he's starting to make sense of what the world's like and how you have to deal with it. And a coat of many colors. You know, having been a chameleon a lot in my life, I mean, I took on so many different funny roles. You know, I pulled poison oak and I was a house cleaner for many years. And then I went to waitressing, and you know, that's like, okay, great place for a people pleaser to exercise their skills. And also for a budding psychic to like look at people and kind of know how to read them. And then to go to sales, like, oh my God. Oh, and to figure out how to sell rented furniture and then sell semiconductors. I didn't even know how to work a computer. I thought if I touched a button, it was going to crack and smoke and break, you know, and some of the parts that went inside them. So, it, you know, it was like, what does it fit in this picture? And I was in Silicon Valley, like, it's a wild situation. A nice little girl from San Anselmo, hippie girl, rather hitchhike to the beach than sell semiconductors. But as you know, having come to terms with who I am and find out when to be the chameleon that's handy, like it's okay to put on the personality you need for to go to the bank and get a loan or go talk to the investment counselors and you know, be able to speak that language and be educated enough to interact with that language and that subject matter, but also know where I am, who I am, even though I'm having to kind of put on this different personality in order to get through life. And but the final result is, can I be myself in this world? And who is that self? And how do I express it? I'm friggin' 65 now, so it's taken a long time to get here. And but I think the next two generations, the next one after me and the great grandkids they're here in a very advanced state, but they're also going to be taking care of a lot of new souls. So, you know, there's some new souls coming in that are not practiced at all. And so we, as more experienced humans, need to help these new souls. Some of those new souls have some interesting personality quirks, and that's what we call like autism or on the spectrum. You know, we have names for it, but it's being able to see through their eyes. but to love as the great creatress or the divine loves. So let's see. I've got time for more questions. I'm sure you have questions. I'm looking again at the Facebook page to see if there are more questions. And that stormy weather, the idea is not to shut ourselves in the house and defend ourselves against inclement weather. It is to come to terms with it, agree with it, wear appropriate clothing, and but not fight it. Mother Earth's in an enormous state of change, just as we are. And so the winds of change are here, and we must accept them. We can't fight them. The road to peace and harmony is the acceptance and interaction and connection with the divine, with our souls and the divine. Okay, Cheryl, I'm in need to recover my health. Any advice about diet or supplements I may need? Well, first off, Cheryl, you need some rest. And that may mean you have to get somebody else to help you with your mother. It may mean you have to leave your son with his dad and let them interact. I could see you really luxuriating in 48 hours in a motel room, by yourself. I suspect your son will be dialing your phone a lot, but it's all right not to answer. He will find other ways to answer his questions. You're not the only one who can answer his questions. And I think it's good for him to spend a little more time with his dad. Your dad, he's a perfectly good dad. And he's not like your dad. You didn't marry your dad. That's really good. Let them have the relationship they already have. You don't have to get in the middle of it. Yeah, so fatigue is a big one. And there's nothing that can be substituted for rest. It's also, look, you're not the only one carrying the world on your shoulders. Like, that's where trusting the divine comes in. It's like, I sometimes have to just let go of thinking I'm going to be everything to everybody, and I'm going to do everything for my mother, and I'm going to make sure I cook a fabulous dinner every night for my sweetheart, and stay disciplined about my own nutritional needs and all this. But getting back to your nutritional needs, Cheryl, I want to recommend go online and find some liquid B vitamins. I don't have them here right now, but I'm liking liquid ones, partly because B12, if it gets in the digestive system, it gets destroyed. The stomach acids just neutralize it, so it's a waste of money. You have to get them, and you put the drops under your tongue and hold them there for a good minute. And the ones I have a fair amount of niacin in them, which may make you feel like you get this flush and a little itchy and you're all red, and it's all right. It's just your nervous system going, oh, whoa, yeah, okay, and your cells picking it up and distributing the vitamin. But I think the B vitamins will help because they really get tapped out in stress. And also if you can get an adrenal supplement, because your adrenal glands are bushed, and what restores them is rest. And you can get adrenal supplements that'll help a lot. And you can get those as drops also. Shoot, don't you miss Pharmaca? It was a nice pharmacy down the street, and unfortunately they went out of business. I don't know why they couldn't stay open, but it didn't work. But they had a whole line of liquid, either herbal infusions or vitamin infusions, or and things that supported the adrenal glands. I'm just looking at your female hormones, and I just they seem pretty vivacious. They seem pretty good. You're not too strong energetically in your first chakra, which is one of the cards that we drew this morning on the 7:30 live video. Sacred sexuality. Listen, we are sexual beings. You got to exercise some of that, whether you have a partner or not. Keep it alive and flowing. It eases the nervous system, it calms the body, it organizes the energy. Sacred sexuality, it's with us, it's part of who we are as human beings. Don't fight it. And when you let your energy all the way down into that first chakra, the bottom of the tailbone, the anus, and the genitals, and then into the hip sockets and down into Mother Earth, it's very, very grounding. I need to research adrenal supplements. Yes, I'm exhausted. Okay. And he is a great dad. I know mine was too. Okay, great. Good. So, it's kind of addictive to put ourselves in the middle of every situation, Cheryl, like we're the only ones who can make this happen. It's not true. It's just not true. And when I wall myself off from love and support and sharing the load, it's like, it's very lonesome. It's very hard. It's a lot of freaking hard work too. I mean, literally, my brother and sister sat at me down at one point. This is when my multiple sclerosis was pretty bad, and I had fatigue a lot. And so if we had a family event and we held it like in my mother's house, I always felt protective of my mother, and I held the whole event in my arms as if I was in charge. And even though we had sorted out different jobs, you're going to bring these side dishes, I'm going to do setup, you're going to do breakdown and clean up, and we'd already done the divvying up the work, and I would end up doing the whole thing and being part of every little aspect. And my brother and sister could feel how I was tapping into my battery, which was already headed for the minus zone. I didn't have the extra energy to do this. And they're like, from now on, Annie, if you say I'm doing setting up the chairs, then you set up the chairs and you don't do anything else. That's it. Everybody else can do their job. You just have to stay out of the way and let them. And it was a really good lesson for me, because I wasn't allowing support in. I wasn't letting myself be where I was and let people help me. And they're perfectly capable. But I always felt like, oh, they had kids and they had this and that. And I gave them all these excuses, and they didn't need those excuses. They had expanded to include accommodating that. And, my pressure on myself was immense, and it wasn't comfortable for people to be around either. They felt it. So I'm listening to you, Cheryl. My hips are very stiff lately, joints and plantar fascia. Okay, look, things are tightening up. You're holding on for dear life. You have to do some things that are self-care related. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make it through the next week. It's challenging for you to allow help. Yeah. As women in our culture, we're taught that we should do anything and everything. We should be stripping the logs for the home that we're building in the woods, and then we're going to grow our own vegetables, which means we have to clear the soil of all these big stumps and rocks, and and improve the soil so it's worthy of growing a vegetable. And then we should be the CEO of our own company and make a shit ton of money. And then we need to run for president. So, it's like, okay, let's just set all of that aside. That is an agenda for women, or standard to uphold, not doable, not helpful. And even for men, is not, they don't have to do everything, and they don't have to be everything for everybody. Neither do women. We have our lives. And if we keep our bodies and our hearts and our minds in good shape, then we can bring things to the party. But if we let that go too long, then we ourselves need to be cared for. Then we ourselves need to have our case handled, or we've got to get help, or we generate really nasty illnesses like fibromyalgia or multiple sclerosis, or some kind of immune disorder, because we have not cared for ourselves. And what are we exemplifying to the next generation? How to disavow what's actually going on and operate on top of it until we fall apart and until we become a problem to ourselves and to others. Laugh out loud. Cheryl says, yes, I'm stripping the logs, growing the food, and the CEO you had. I know, me too. And it's we got to pick our battles. We be what we can be. Certain things will show up in our lives that are sole purposes that will not let us go. So if we're meant to run for Congress or the presidency, or become a super duper doc or an energy worker or whatever, if we're meant to write that book, we will. But you know what? If you need rest, none of that's going to come forth from a dead battery. And I think the hips thing, that's low back, that's sacrum, L3, L4, L5, the sacrum, all of that. You need mobility in that area, and that a chiropractor can help you with. And also for you, Cheryl, you need a chiropractor who speaks atlas bone. That's the top of the neck, that the skull sits on that. And when that's out, when my atlas is out, I can tell, because my inner conversation is self-critical, like pick, criticize all the time. And I get my atlas adjusted and back in alignment, and it's like, I don't know what my problem was, but it sure is gone now. So self-care, really, really required. And ain't it true, Karen Granovsky? We gotta care for ourselves, because if we don't, we crash. And that's not what you really want. So be open to help. Search it out, get it, make an appointment, with people who can help you. Cheryl, you might really do well with acupuncture as well, especially for the adrenal glands and sort of balancing your energies. It brings, my sense of acupuncture for you, Cheryl, it will bring the codependent tentacles back inside to where you are, in your center. And it's like bringing the car in for a tune-up, and it just runs like a top afterwards. Sometimes it takes a few appointments, and sometimes we have to stop doing certain bad habits that don't work for us. I think, Cheryl, also you could use a little more protein. Have you been trying to eat vegetarian? I'm not sure that works for you. Yes, for years. Oh, good. I do acupuncture every other week. Good. Good, good, good. Let them know about the fatigue. You really need to let them know about the fatigue, because they can work with that. And I think there's some herbs that they can prescribe for you that would be helpful. All right. Yeah, you do need another reading with me. I'd love to do that. I'd love to do a reading for you. I love to do readings for anybody. It's who I'm supposed to be here, and that's my work in the world. And I'm happy doing it, and it makes my body feel good and all that stuff. Karen says, I'm just watching G2 planets ride versus living it like I did before. Karen Gronowski, that is great. There is a certain detachment. And illness is a hard taskmaster, but it's effective. It's a really good soul method of getting our attention. And do express my love to Mark for me, would you, Karen Gronowski? I love your husband. He's just a delight. The king and the queen. All right. I think that's it for now. Let me just ask if there are any messages from the Akashic beings of light or Anubis. The quick hit on G2 Planet is not a quick hit. I can't do that today. It's the full reading. It's a full thing. So the guides are just saying how much they love us, how much they honor our efforts and our willingness to take it to the wire, to really go to the edge of the cliff and give it our all, this trip around the planet, this embodiment as souls. We really, to be willing to do this takes an immense amount of courage, bravery, and there's a lot of pre-work that gets done and post-work that gets done after being embodied. And they are just amazed that we want to go back for more, but also that we also get to do two things that are very, very valuable, and that's connect the heart and play with our sacred sexuality or be physical, and to feel love at this physical level really is a joy and a gift to ourselves and to others, because we're basically love machines. We are basically love machines. All right, my friends, I would love to read for you. Go to anniechannels.com and you can schedule. And I have all the different readings up there. There's half-hour phone readings. There's a one question reading for only $28. There's a Anubis channeling or an Akashic Records reading that's a full-on Zoom thing, and you get the recording afterwards. I mean, I really got a lot of different forms and price ranges that are make it workable so you can get what you need. All right, loves. Thank you again for being with me. I love you all. And you, my YouTube followers, I bless you. Check me out at anniechannels.com. There's a lot on my website. I'm adding things, more and more things. If you want to get the personal guidance, one question thing, you can also go to my Soul Sorcerer Etsy.com page and order it there. And there are some quotes from the book there that are really, really great reminders of how we are being spiritual beings on an earthly level and in a body, and bringing forth our soul consciousness. Lots of good reminders there from my book. All right. I love you very much. Bye.